Hello, everyone, and welcome to Easy English Podcast 360, the channel where we speak English naturally and confidently in everyday situations.
Hi, friends. We are so happy you are here with us today. And yes, please like this video and subscribe for more fun English talks every week.
I hope you're having a nice day, maybe with a cup of coffee or tea, and you feel relaxed and ready to practice some English with us.
Yes, relax your shoulders, take a deep breath, and just enjoy this friendly English conversation like you were talking with two friends.
Today, we want to talk about something very normal, something we all do every day without thinking too much.
Yes, we want to talk about habits, the small things we do again and again in our daily life.
Habits are very important because they show how we live, how we think, and how our day usually goes.
That is true. And talking about habits in English is very useful when you meet new people or talk with friends.
For example, people often ask, "What do you do every day?" Or, "What do you usually do in the morning?"
Yes, and when you can answer these questions easily, you sound more natural and more confident in English.
So today, we will just chat, share stories, and practice simple English sentences about habits.
No stress, no hard grammar, just easy English that you can use in real life.
By the way, before we start, how are you feeling today? Are you full of energy or a little sleepy?
Honestly, I feel a little sleepy because I wake up early every day and my bed always says, "Please stay with me."
Haha, I know that feeling very well. My bed also talks to me every morning, and it is very friendly.
Yes, but sadly we must get up because that is part of our daily habits.
That is a perfect example. Getting up is a habit, something we do every day or almost every day.
Exactly. So let me ask you a simple question. What do you usually do in the morning?
Well, I usually wake up around 7. Then I check my phone for messages, even though I know I should not do that.
Aha, yes, many people do that. Checking the phone is a very modern habit now.
After that, I brush my teeth, wash my face, and make a cup of coffee because I really need coffee to feel alive.
I understand you completely. I also drink coffee every morning, and without it, my brain does not work very well.
So you can hear the word usually. We use it when we talk about habits that happen many times.
Yes, we also use words like always, often, sometimes, and never to talk about habits.
For example, I always drink coffee in the morning, but I never drink coffee at night.
That is a good habit because coffee at night can make you look at the ceiling for many hours.
Haha, yes. And then you count sheep and think about your life choices.
Exactly. That is not a good bedtime habit at all.
So habits can be good or bad, but they are still habits, things we do again and again.
Yes, and when we talk about habits in English, we often use the present simple tense.
Like, I work from Monday to Friday, or I watch TV in the evening.
These sentences are very simple, but they are very powerful for daily conversation.
Let me ask you another question. What do you usually do in the evening after work or school?
In the evening, I usually feel tired, so I eat dinner, watch something funny, and try not to fall asleep on the sofa.
Haha, the sofa is dangerous because once you sit down, it does not want to let you go.
That is true. The sofa is very comfortable and very strong.
I usually cook dinner at home because I like simple food, and it also saves money.
That is a very good habit and also a very useful sentence for English learners.
Yes, I usually cook at home is simple, clear, and sounds very natural.
You can change it easily, like I usually eat out or I usually order food.
Exactly. And you can add time words like every day, on weekends, or at night.
For example, on weekends, I usually wake up late and feel very happy about it.
Haha. Yes, waking up late on weekends feels like a small vacation.
It really does. And that shows how habits can change on different days.
On weekdays, I wake up early, but on weekends, I sleep more and move very slowly.
Same here. My weekend habit is to move like a sleepy cat.
That is a very cute image, a sleepy cat with a cup of coffee.
Yes, maybe that cat is me.
So you see, talking about habits is not boring. It is fun and very personal.
And it helps you connect with people because everyone has habits to share.
Sometimes people even laugh together when they talk about funny habits.
Like talking to your plants or saying sorry to a chair when you hit your leg.
Hey, I do that, and the chair never says sorry back.
Very rude chair, honestly.
But jokes like this make conversations warm and friendly.
Yes, and that is what we want when we speak English in real life.
So let me ask you one more habit question. Do you usually exercise or move your body?
I try to exercise, but honestly, I sometimes just think about exercising instead.
Thinking about exercise is also a kind of habit, I think.
Yes, maybe a mental workout.
I usually go for a short walk in the evening because it helps me relax.
That is a nice habit and very easy to explain in English.
I usually go for a walk in the evening is a great sentence for beginners.
Yes, you can remember it and use it anytime. And
Habits help people understand your lifestyle and your personality.
when you talk about them in English, you sound more natural and confident.
We will continue chatting about daily habits, weekend habits, and even funny habits people have.
Yes, stay with us and enjoy this relaxed English conversation together.
You know, habits are also a very common topic when you meet someone for the first time.
Yes, people often ask simple questions like, what do you usually do after work?
Or they ask, what do you do in your free time? Which is really another way to talk about habits.
That question is very popular and it is easy to answer with simple English.
For example, you can say, in my free time, I usually watch movies or listen to music.
Yes, that sentence is perfect for beginners, clear and very natural.
In my free time, I usually read a little, but honestly, sometimes I just look at the pages.
Haha, yes, the book is open, but the mind is somewhere else.
That also happens to me, especially after a long day when my brain feels tired.
That is why habits change with our energy, mood, and even the weather.
On rainy days, I usually stay at home and feel very cozy.
Same here. Rainy days make me want to drink tea and do nothing important.
Doing nothing is also a habit for some people, and that is okay.
Yes, resting is a very important habit, even if it looks lazy sometimes.
Let me ask you, do you usually watch TV or use your phone before sleeping?
I usually use my phone, even though I know it is not a good habit.
Yes, many people do that, and then they say, why am I not sleepy?
Exactly. The phone says, one more video, and suddenly it is very late.
I usually try to stop using my phone before bed, but sometimes I fail.
That sentence is very real and very human. I try, but sometimes I fail.
You can use it when talking about habits you want to change.
Yes, like, I try to eat healthy, but sometimes I eat too much chocolate.
Chocolate is very powerful. It has a strong personality.
Yes, chocolate always wins the conversation.
Talking about food habits is also very common and very fun.
People love to talk about what they eat every day.
I usually eat breakfast at home because it saves time and money.
I sometimes skip breakfast, and then I feel hungry and angry very fast.
That is not a good mix. hungry and angry is very dangerous.
Yes, people should stay away from me at that time.
So you can say, I usually eat breakfast, or I don't usually eat breakfast.
Both sentences are very useful and easy to remember.
Notice how we say don't usually to talk about habits we do not do often.
Yes, small words like don't, usually, and often are very important.
Let's talk about weekend habits now, because weekends feel different.
Yes, weekends are special, like a small gift after a long week.
On weekends, I usually wake up later and take my time in the morning.
Same here, I don't rush, and I enjoy my coffee very slowly.
I usually meet friends or family on weekends if I have time.
That is a very warm habit and a nice thing to share in conversation.
Sometimes I stay at home all day, and I feel very happy about it.
Yes, staying at home can be a beautiful plan.
People often think habits must be active, but quiet habits are also good.
Like listening to music, cooking slowly, or just sitting and thinking.
I usually listen to music when I clean the house because it feels less boring.
That is a great tip and also a great habit sentence.
I usually listen to music when I clean is simple and very natural.
You can change it easily, like, I usually listen to music when I work.
Repeating these sentence patterns helps learners feel more confident.
Yes, confidence grows when English feels familiar and friendly.
Do you have any funny habits that people sometimes notice?
Well, I usually talk to myself when I look for things.
Ha ha, like saying, "Where are you keys?" Very seriously.
Yes, and the keys never answer, which is very rude.
That is a funny habit and perfect for a light conversation.
People often laugh and say, I do that too.
And that moment helps people connect and feel comfortable.
Exactly. Habits help us see we are all very similar.
Even small habits can start long and friendly conversations.
That is why learning to talk about habits is so useful.
We are not trying to sound perfect, just natural and clear.
Yes, real English is about communication, not perfection.
Let's keep sharing a few more habits together.
Yes, because practice makes speaking feel easier and smoother.
You know, another very common habit people talk about is work or study habits.
Yes, people often ask, how do you usually work? Or how do you study English?
That question is perfect for English learners because you can share your learning routine.
For example, you can say, I usually study English in the evening for 30 minutes.
That sentence is clear, simple, and very realistic for daily life.
Yes, and even short study time is a good habit if you do it often.
I usually practice English by listening to podcasts or watching short videos.
Like this one, hopefully, while drinking coffee or relaxing at home.
Exactly. Learning English should feel friendly, not stressful.
Stress is not a good habit, especially for language learning.
I agree. When people feel relaxed, they remember words more easily.
That is why casual conversations are very helpful.
Let me ask you, do you usually practice English alone or with other people?
I usually practice alone, but sometimes I talk to friends or even talk to myself.
Talking to yourself is actually a great habit for speaking practice.
Yes, and it is free, which is my favorite price.
Haha, free habits are the best habits.
That should be a life rule.
Some people say, I don't have time, but habits are about small actions.
Even 5 minutes every day can make a big difference.
You can say, I usually study a little every day.
That sentence sounds very positive and realistic.
Let's talk about night habits now because the day must end.
Yes, night habits are very personal and very interesting.
At night, I usually prepare things for the next day.
I usually forget to do that and then rush in the morning.
That happens to many people. Morning rush is a common habit too.
Yes, running and looking for things at the same time.
Before sleeping, I usually read or listen to calm music.
I usually scroll on my phone and promise myself just 5 minutes.
And those 5 minutes become 30 minutes very quickly.
Time moves very fast at night.
So you can hear again, I usually, I often, I sometimes.
These small phrases are your best friends when talking about habits,
They help you sound natural and relaxed in conversation.
and people understand you very easily.
Habits are part of who we are, and sharing them builds connection.
Yes, habits tell small stories about our daily life.
You don't need big stories or difficult words.
Simple English is strong English.
That is why we love practicing everyday topics like this.
Because you can use them right after this video ends.
Maybe later today you will tell someone about your habits in English.
And you will feel a little more confident when you do it.
Confidence grows step by step, habit by habit.
That sounds very wise, actually.
Haha, sometimes we sound wise by accident.
It happens more often than we think.
So before we finish, let's share one last habit each.
Good idea, you go first.
Okay, I usually start my day with a positive thought and a deep breath.
That is a beautiful habit, calm and healthy.
Thank you, and what about you?
I usually end my day by thinking about one good thing that happened.
That is also a great habit, very simple and very powerful.
Small habits can make life better.
And talking about them in English makes your English better too.
Exactly, learning and living at the same time.
Thank you for spending this time with us today.
Yes, we really enjoyed chatting with you.
If you enjoyed this friendly English conversation,
Like this chat? Subscribe for more fun English talks.